to acknowledge that the UFV Student Union Society is located on the ancestral, unceded, and current homelands of the Halkimalian-speaking Stolo Nation, and to extend our appreciation for the opportunity to work, live, and learn on this territory. Moving on, we'll go to item 1.1.1, that is the roll call. Do we have Jaden Hubby, President? We have Harmanjot Singh, Vice President Internal. We have Roxy Granakovas, Vice President External. Myself, Bilal Faisal Fahim, Vice President Students. We have Simranpreet Kaur, Student Representative at Large. Daria Sinda, Student Representative at Large. And Olivia Lake de Meza, Executive Director. For guests, we have Karan Pahal, SUS Finance Manager. And we have Alex Chow from Grant Thornton as our auditor. And for regrets, we have Claire Cook, the Chief Returning Officer, and I will be chairing today's meeting in my role as an executive in the absence of the acting board chair, that was Claire Cook, as permitted by SUS Bylaw 17.1, which states that the board chair, an executive, or another person appointed by the executive committee may preside as the chair of the general meeting. For regrets, we have Nikila Jacob, Student Representative at Large. We have Balkarn Gill, Student Representative at Large. We have Prabcharn Mahal, Student Representative at Large. And we have Tanveer Handal, Student Representative at Large. Moving on, we'll go to item 2, items for adoption. Item 2.1, consent agenda. So item 2.1.1, approval of the agenda, reads, be it resolved, the 2025 SUS AGM agenda is approved as presented. Can I get a mover for this? We have 22. Can I get a seconder? We have 15. All those in favor of the motion? I'll just request everybody in favor to raise their numbers. All of those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 2.1.2, the approval of AGM 2024 minutes. So be it resolved, the 2024 SUS AGM minutes are approved as presented. Can I get a mover? We have number 49. Can I get a seconder? Number 20. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on, we'll go to item 2.2, conflict of interest disclosures. Are there any conflicts of interest that any member would like to disclose? We'll give a good couple of seconds. Right. Seeing none, we will proceed forward. Next is item number 3, special presentations and discussions. Item 3.1, introductions. So we'll start the introductions from our right, and I would like everybody to introduce themselves with their name and their title. Can you some mic? Thank you, everyone, for your introductions. We'll move on to item 3.2, call for auditor. The motion reads, be it resolved, Grant Thornton be appointed auditor for 2025-2026 financial year. Can I get a mover for this motion? We have number 15. Can I get a seconder? We have number 22. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, we'll move on to item 3.3, presentation of audited 2023-2024 SUS financial statements. And now I would like to invite Alex Chow from Grant Thornton, who is our auditor.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. As introduced myself, I'm Alex Lau. I'm a partner at Doan Grant Thornton. Yeah, we changed our name in the fall, but still the same firm. And just want to start off by thanking everyone here for your business. It's been a pleasure being the audit partner for, I think, 7 years now. Just here today to just walk through our audit report and the financial statements which we've audited. And if there's any questions or anything, feel free to raise up your number and we can chat about it. So it's a little small here, but starting here with the audit report, you can see here that we've provided an unqualified opinion, which means we don't have any issues with the numbers that are being presented. And that the numbers that are being presented by the management team, which we've audited, are in accordance with what's called accounting standards for not-for-profits. So these are a set of accounting standards that all or most not-for-profits in Canada are using, so it's consistent and everything. The report goes on to highlight what's the responsibility of management and those charged with governance, which is the people here on my right, and then responsibilities of the auditors. So responsibilities of management, those charged with governance, is to put the numbers together in accordance with the accounting standards for not-for-profits. And our responsibility as auditors is to audit them through a number of different procedures that we do, vouching to the paperwork, confirming things with other institutions, et cetera, et cetera. And after we do that, we provide our opinion. So to go to the last paragraph of okay, sure, I can just keep talking. So all not-for-profits like UFVSUS are required to be audited. And it's also required under what's called the BC Societies Act, which is this last paragraph here. As part of that, we make sure that everything that's required of the Societies Act of British Columbia, which governs all not-for-profits in British Columbia, that we've done the audit in accordance to their rules and regulations. At the very bottom there, you'll see that we signed off this audit October 30th, 2024. That summarized the audit report, which is our work that we've done. Moving on here, this is the statement of revenues and expenses. There's nothing particularly new the past year. This is the March 31st, 2024 year end, by the way. You can see there's some various consistencies year over year from a revenue source perspective. So membership fees, UPass fees, building fees, etc. Those programs are pretty much the same. There's no new ones compared to the previous years. I think the big driver of the change and the increase in revenues is really the performance of the investments that the SUS or SUS holds. So that's the main thing driving some of the additional revenues compared to previous years, which is a good thing. From an expenses perspective, again, it's pretty much the same programs. You'll see the consistency there with your health and dental premiums, the UPass, the shuttle, and building expenses, and those payments. So overall, if you just scroll down a little bit, you can see quite a positive bottom line excess of revenues over expenses of $628,817. Just pause there if there's any questions or comments. Save over the end? Okay, sorry, save over the end. And then the next page there is the balance sheet, which So this is a moment in time, the balance sheet, the assets and liabilities of SUS. You can see there's not any new items per se. Cash, accounts receivable, short-term investments, prepaid expenses, a little bit of inventory, and then capital assets and the lease for the space. I would say the biggest change is the prepaid expenses, which consists of the premiums that SUS pays for health and dental. And that's just based off the timing of when the insurer invoices the organization. Some years they do it earlier and then we pay it earlier, but we get the premium to use it later on. So we set it up as an asset. In some years, they don't bill until much later, and there's less of that being set up in the beginning. On the liability side, very consistent, and same with the net assets piece. So I don't think I'll need to cover anything there. And then we have the cash flow statement, which shows movements in cash during the year. It mostly just follows what is what we talked about in the statement of revenues and expenses. With regards to the notes to the financial statement, the purpose of the notes is just to explain the accounting policies of SUS, as well as provide some additional detail that's required by the accounting standards for not-for-profits. There were no major changes to the accounting standards not-for-profits this past year, and I don't expect any for this upcoming year as well. And it's just requires the organization to disclose additional information. Since there's no major changes to the notes, kind of just glance through and to see if there's any questions here at the end. So I guess we can have the questions then. April 1st to March 31st. So we're a little late, yeah. Yeah. Someone over there as well, number 4. So the SUS on balance sheet holds short-term investments of $3.6 million. Last year, 2023, it was $2.4 million. So whatever SUS invested in increased in value, and then we record that as income. Oh, what's in it? It is in note 3 here, which is marketable securities held with BMO Financial Group. So stocks, bonds, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's March 31st term. That's correct. Yes. So when we do the audit this year, we'll that's up for discussion. I'm not sure if the AGM is planned to be earlier next year or it's once a year thing, I imagine, right? So.
Yep, the AGM is this time every year. It's usually in the April, so we're ready to go, and we hope that the audit will be completed by the end of summer this year. Yeah.
We're going to audit the March 31st, 2025 numbers. That's the year end. Yeah. So that's 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I think that's just the timing of the AGM. So the board actually looks at things in the fall and the summer fall and approves the financial statements, and it just gets presented now at the AGM. It varies. Usually it's a little closer, but it varies. Yeah.
just wanted to make one comment that also we're presenting the budget for next year as well. So for our AGM, it's about balancing the reporting for the previous year, but also letting you know as soon as possible what the budget will be for the projected year. And so the BC Societies Act requires us to hold an AGM within 6 months of the end of the financial year. So it can be any time between the end of the financial year of March and 6 months further down the line. So for us with our financial year, this is pretty early in the scheme of things to do it. So I just want to say we're also keen to present next year's budget, which Karen did.
And just as a request, I would like everyone to hold their questions until the question period. And then once all the presentations are done, then we can circle back to all the questions, just in the best interest of time. Thank you.
Do that.
Okay, if we have any pressing questions for Alex, but it's just one question per member and with a maximum of 2 minutes so that we can get to all the presentations and all the questions available.
Oh.
After the AGM has been completed and we have got the minutes for the AGM, it's posted on our website. So you'll be able to see last year. So usually within a week, sometimes it takes 2 weeks to upload everything and complete the report and minutes written like that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, it's nice to see everyone, and thank you again for your business. I'll stay until about 12:20 for say things.
Thank you, Alex. Now we move on to item 3.4. That is the budget presentation by SUS Finance Manager Karan Pahal. And just a reminder, we'll wait for all the questions till the question period. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karan Pahal, and I'm the Finance Manager for University Fraser Valley Student Union Society. I'll be going over the 2025 to 2026 budget for this year. So without ado, we'll get right into it. So just to start some things off, we have some definitions to go over, just so everyone's aware. So our funds are broken up into two different categories. We have the Operations Fund and we have our Membership Fund. We refer to our Operations Fund as our unrestricted funds, as these are general operation funds used for the general operation of the Student Union Society. And our membership funds are referred to as unrestricted funds, as these are funds used for very specific purposes in each department, and only for that designated purposes are those funds used. Moving into some budget basics, we have two reports here that we refer throughout the fiscal year for financial data. So the first report would be the income statement. So that covers our revenue and expenses over a period of time. So for example, if we want to see the financial data over a month, a couple of weeks, this is the report we would refer to. The next report would be a balance sheet. So that shows us a snapshot of our assets, liabilities, and equity at any moment in time. So for example, if I wanted to see the financial data at September 15th, that's the report we refer to. Next, we have our budget departments here. So these are broken apart into the unrestricted and the restricted departments as mentioned earlier. So for our unrestricted accounts, we have the general operations budget and the programming budget. So general operations is funded by the membership fee, and it covers the main costs of our society. And the programming is funded from the surplus of general operations, and it's the funds allocated for events and programs. So those are unrestricted accounts. Moving into our restricted accounts, we have clubs and associations. So that includes funds that are allocated from ordinary resolution that was passed in January of 2023. We have our UPAS account, which is our restricted funds to cover transit and recreation costs. Our student transportation fund, which is our restricted funds to cover the inter-campus shuttle and the safe driving initiatives, as well as our health and dental account, which is our restricted funds to cover the cost of our student insurance plan. Some more restricted accounts here. So we have our food bank account. So that's the restricted funds to facilitate the food bank, the sub facilities, the cost to operate our student union building. I think we're good. And the final restricted account is our contracted services. So that's the IT service that we contract out to UFE. So as you guys can see, the restricted accounts all have a very designated purpose, and the funds for that account only are used for that purpose, whereas the unrestricted accounts are for our general operations and they can be used as needed for the Student Union Society. Moving forward, we're going to look into our general operations, the unrestricted funds portion of that. So we're just going to take a little bit of a deeper dive to get an understanding there. Starting off with our revenue, this is categorized to 3 different categories. So we have the membership fees, earned income, as well as the passive revenue. So for membership fees, the total for the year is $1,113,800. That breaks down to $39.17 per student in summer, $40.65 per student in fall, $40.92 per student in winter. Next, we have our earned revenue. So this is revenue from services, mainly for renting our business spaces. That comes out to $115,484 per year. And then our passive income. So that's our revenue from investments, subsidy, and bank interest, which comes out to $21,770 per the year. Next, we have our general operations labor costs. So as the University Student Union Society, we employ 13 full-time staff members in permanent roles, 4 elected full-time student executives, and over 18 students hired in part-time roles throughout the fiscal year. So that brings our total labor costs for the year to $884,056. Next, we have programming. So Kickback this year has the highest allocation as of far. So we are looking at $48,300 for that, $2,450 for the Student Perks program. And for community and innovation, so this is any other events that may happen throughout the year, we have a total of $28,365. All right, so we're just going to have a look at the unrestricted funds, an overview of snapshot of the revenue versus the expenses. So the total unrestricted revenue is $1,251,055. And for the expenses, we have a labor costs of $884,056, general operation costs of $287,884, programming events of $79,115,000. So that brings our total revenue of $1,251,055 equal to the expenses, leading to a net surplus or a deficit of $0. All right, so next we're going to look into the restricted funds here. So a little bit of a deeper dive there. Starting with clubs and associations, we have $19,500 allocated for the platform, which is the QPay software. It makes it easier to access resources and connect throughout the year. We have $38,810 for activities, so that's allocated to making stuff happen, such as club funding, events, things of that sort. And $59,979 towards resort supports, including stuff. So an overview of our services, revenue versus expenses for the year. Starting with UPass, we have revenue of $1,185,780, expenses of $1,087,020, leading to a surplus of $98,760. Student transportation has revenue of $910,846, $703,506 of expenses, leading to a surplus of $270,340. Health and dental has revenue of $1,502,584, $1,346,477 of expenses, leading to a surplus of $156,107. The food bank has $56,400 in revenue, $54,680 in expenses, leading to a surplus of $1,720. Contracted services has $131,243 of revenue, $133,740 of expenses, leading to a deficit of $2,497. Sub-facilities, our revenue comes out to $916,005. Expenses come out to $535,052, leading to a surplus of $380,954. Student refugee, we have $56,007 of revenue, $51,550 of expenses, leading to a surplus of $4,457. Finally, just want to touch on our endowments there. So UFVSUS is a proud UFV donor. We have 4 awards, which is the UFV Student Union Society Endowment Scholarship Award, the UFV Student Union Society Leadership Award, the UFV Student Union Society Endowment Bursary Award, as well as the Dr. Ethel Gardner Memorial Endowment Bursary Award. So these generate at least 11 awards per year to support students, and this year's SUS Endowment Awards created awards totaling $7,820. That is all for the financial portion of the presentation. Thank you everyone for your time. We'll take questions at the end.
Lots of numbers, eh? So thank you, Karan, for the presentation. Now we move on to item 3.5, that is the 2024-2025 annual report by SUS. And I'd like to invite Olivia Lectimesa, our Executive Director, to present.
Thanks, Bilal. Okay, so I'm going to go over the kind of cliff notes of our annual report. So these are a summary in these slides, and you also have a mini annual report that's scattered around on your tables there. We do have a more comprehensive full annual report, which will be released by the end of the month with the financial statements will be updated on our website. So this year we lost the screen. I'll carry on talking. This year we focused on building community, providing essential support, and creating memorable moments for our members during their academic time at UFE. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that the marketing team have put together a really fun annual report this year. You'll notice the Monopoly theme. So you'll see some fun, slightly cheesy little excerpts and quotes on each page. I won't read them out because I don't sound that cool, but you can read it for yourself. So kicking off with clubs and associations. This year we grew our community by having 21 new clubs, and we welcomed back 18 returning ones. And together, clubs hosted over 187 events and meetings. So it's creating tons of opportunities for students to get together and connect. We also focused on supporting our clubs and associations leaders, running training sessions and different focus groups. And at Kickback last year, we had our first C&A Avenue experience, which was absolutely packed. It was set up in this space and the space next door, and it was a bit like you know, when you're at the airport and the duty free and you kind of have to go through it to get to the other side, but no one wanted to leave. So this area, Kickback at one point had the most people in it. It was great. And it was a really good opportunity for our clubs to connect with new students and welcome back students from previous years. So programs and events. So this year we've been trying to make an impact through all of our different programs. Early Weeks, we had the launch of, that helps tackle food insecurity and offers free hot breakfasts to students. We have our health and wellness program, which continues to run all throughout the year. And also Angel Tree, which is supported by our team to help opportunities for students with parents. And this year we had 186 children who were sponsored. Also on the event side, we hosted 85 events in total this year, and we sold over 6,960 tickets. That's an 11% increase year on year. And Kickback alone, we had 2,500 attendees. So it was one of the biggest highlights of our year and the largest event that we have ever hosted at SUS. Okay, so the campus shuttle. So just highlighting our service spotlights. Our campus shuttle got a huge boost this year, and we have 3 brand new buses operating. And we took 51,000 passengers to where they needed to go. So individual journeys, total 51,000 for the year. And we also added the student ID scanners to make the process a little bit easier. So if you ride the shuttle bus, you'll know that there's a now scanner that scans your student ID. That helps us to collect data more effectively. We can make better strategic decisions around the shuttle schedule, knowing when we have peak times, when it's a little bit quieter, and we continue to adapt that accordingly year on year. We're also happy to be able to continue running the Walmart shuttle. So on a Friday throughout the year, all semesters, we run the shuttle that goes from Lalem to Baker to Walmart and back for a couple of hours. The UPass fully moved over to UMO, and we had 1,442 opt-out requests this year. 842 of those were approved. And through our health and dental plan, we have 7,510 members, that's people registered in the program. And the claims were 300,000 health claims and over 450,000 in dental claims. And we were very grateful that we were able to offer another year of the health and dental plan without increasing the cost, something we're mindful of every year about as things change. But this year, we saw an increase in uptake of usage, which is great. I'm a slide behind.
Sorry.
Okay, marketing and communication. So that team's all about staying connected. This year, the focus was on real engagement. So not just chasing followers and likes, but on Instagram, we broke past over 5,000 followers and saw a huge bump in our profile visits, which were up almost 4,000. We sent out 80 email campaigns, which had an improved opening rate. Last year, our opening rate was 38%, this year, 48%. And on our website, traffic jumped to 175,000 visitors with a lower bounce rate too. So that means when people are sticking around to the website and engaging with the content a little bit more. Okay, well, that's up there. I just want to give a huge thank you to our incredible marketing team for all of the creativity and the work that they do and the strategy they put into designing things. And especially for the campaigns, there's a lot of designing, putting that together, and the report as well is just a kind of fantastic demonstration of the team that we have. As a side note, we are actually updating our AV equipment shortly. So that's all paid for. And we're hoping in the month of May and June, we will have brand new AV equipment because we know that this issue is not exclusive to just this. But yeah, we'll have a new projector system and a new sound system in the atrium and Everett Hall. So that's an investment that we made in last year that we will be reporting on in a year's time when we won't have this to see. I'm just going to keep on talking without the slides, even though they're beautiful. So talking about fairgrounds, we had a fantastic year for fairgrounds this year. As you'll know, we had very limited food served on campus. And so fairgrounds really tried as best as we could to fill the gap. We served over 30,000 customers this financial year. We introduced new menus, upgraded our coffee, and we made a big shift or a bigger shift towards sustainability. So 95% of our paper products are now compostable or recyclable. And our fully operational fairgrounds prep kitchen makes that easier to do. It also supports the food security on campus. So having that prep kitchen supports early eats and potential kind of future food security. For a facilities update, so we hosted 55 events in Everett Hall this year. I take that back. We didn't host them. There were 55 hosted events. So we rented out Everett Hall, and the student union building saw 200 clubs and association bookings throughout the year. And it was a record year for rentals for us, which is good because it's that income that we get from the rentals that we can invest into keeping the building maintained and also updating and upgrading things like our AV equipment. So for my final slide, just to say a big thank you. Thanks for being here, especially during exam period. I think we're all a bit concerned that we might not get many people out, but it's so great to see a good turnout. And so I just wanted to thank you all for being here and for staying engaged throughout the year. I want to thank our team as well, the whole SUS operating team. We have amazing baristas, amazing facilities crew that do all the setup for spaces like this. And also there's our dedicated board of directors, some who are present today, our executives who work so hard in advocacy, which they'll get to talk about a little bit more, as well as helping everything run smoothly. And yourselves, of course, your contributions, your feedback, your engagement, our events is so important to kind of make us the organization that we are. And we'd love to hear more from you as the days kind of unfold, but also there's some post-it notes on your tables there. Feel free to pop any little notes, words of affirmation greatly received. And also, any ideas or thoughts that you have, constructive feedback would be great. There's a ballot box somewhere at the back, just behind Paige there in the red. If you could pop them in there, that would be great. So that's all for me. I'll pass back to Bilal.
Thank you, Olivia, for the much needed break from the numbers. So now we'll move on to item 3.6, the executive goal plan update. And I'd like to invite SUS President Jane Hovey to give that presentation and tell what the exec team was up to this past year.
Thank you, Bilal. I hope that we don't have too much more technical difficulties, but maybe, it looks like Olivia will be able to unplug and plug back in the HDMI cable if we have some issues. Clicker.
Let's see where we start.
Okay. Thank you everybody so much for coming. It's so great to see a turnout of students. We really want to make sure that we can have our students come out and hear the work that we're doing and share the work that we're doing because, myself and my 3 VPs here have been hard at work full time for the last year, really trying to build up the campus community. Roxy's been doing a ton of really important advocacy work that I'm super excited to present. We're all doing some amazing events and engagement on campus. Harmon over there is doing a great job keeping the organization together and making sure that all of our ducks are in our rows and things are going well. So huge shout out to all of them. And I'm really looking forward to getting to share what we've been up to. So the first one we can talk about is the UPass, because this is a big one. This is one of the ones that we were really passionate about trying to work on and to implement this year. Particularly around the Fraser Valley Express 66, which the progress is still ongoing for that one. Just for a little bit of background on the 66, this is something that SUS has been advocating to include on our UPass for the past 5 years or so. And we keep hearing from BC Transit that year over year, it'll happen. It's going to happen next year. It's going to happen next year. And we heard that again this year, and we were hopeful that we would be able to see it finally implemented. Now we're hearing that due to some capacity issues, we're looking at maybe 2026. So trends, I guess we'll see, but a lot of important work and progress has been made on the 66 this year. I had a meeting with the Mayor of Abbotsford to talk about the 66, met with the Fraser Valley Regional District, and then Bilal and I are heading off to Victoria tomorrow to meet with the Minister of Transportation to talk about the 66 as well. Flexibility in terms of UPass opt-outs, we've included hybrid and high flex classes into the opt-out eligibility. Just under that online-only piece, where if you're taking hybrid classes, it's now an extra opportunity for you to be able to opt out of the UPass. And we've done a bunch of work on trying to implement a summer opt-in for students who aren't taking summer classes, but still want to use the benefits of the UPass. So being able to access transit and recreation services throughout the summer, even when you're not taking classes, and that's coming soon. So right now we're in the contract negotiation phase, and we're looking at completing the signage. I really wanted to have it done for this summer, but just due to the way that city councils meet and all of these things, it's looking like it'll be completed this summer, and the first year to implement it will probably be next year. Couple of big advocacy wins. So when it comes to engagement with the Canadian Alliance of Student Associations, Roxy and I had a pretty direct role to play and involvement in the organization there. I sat on the board of directors for CASA this year, and we were able to really bring a lot of UFV's priorities to the federal stage. Some key achievements for Get Out the Vote. As many of you know, there was a provincial election back in the fall, and Roxy did a bunch of work there trying to get the word out for students, making sure that all of the local candidates knew what student priorities were. We put on a candidates forum here where we got to talk about issues that were important to students. And then we also secured on-campus voting here in Everett Hall to make it just that much easier for students to come and be able to vote. ZTCs in syllabi. So the Zero Textbook Cost Program is something that Roxy's been working really heavily on for the last year. She wrote a ZTC report that we brought to the provost and to the senior administration here at UFV. For those of you who don't know, Zero Textbook Cost is a program that is implemented at some other universities whereby certain programs and certain courses are dedicated as ZTCs. They require no additional paid textbooks or any sort of additional cost other than the cost of the course. And they're advertised and marketed as such. So you can see what a zero textbook cost is, zero textbook cost program is at the time of registration. And you can choose if you want to take a ZTC so that you don't have to pay those extra costs for these textbooks. And it was very well positively received by the provost and by senior admin. So they're doing a pilot this summer and they're hoping to have it implemented by next year. So yeah, honestly, let's give a round of applause to Roxy for that. I think that's pretty amazing. But yeah, absolutely. Know Your Rights. Roxy's been working on some Know Your Rights videos as well, just trying to get out there about what policies are going on and how UFV policies affect UFV students. So right now, one episode has been filmed and there's another one to be filmed in the next couple of weeks here before we wrap up. And then hopefully those episodes will be released soon. And then we've onboarded 6 new student perks partners within the last year, which exceeded our goal of 2. We at the beginning of the year, we set a goal to try and have 2 new partners. We ended up with 6 new partners this year, which is a nice win as well. And then I will just I apologize, I don't have notes here, but Campus Pride. So this was another objective for us in terms of advocacy as well. This was more internal, where Roxy did a lot of work on updating our Campus Pride webpage on our website, as well as doing some work with pronoun pins to be able to to have a little bit more diversity there. Governance. So this is a lot of the work that Harmon's been doing most of the year. He started a program called Find Your Fees, which is a short form video series, reels, that talk more in detail about the fees that you pay. So things like the UPass fee, the building fee, the health and dental fee. What do they do? What do you get for the fees that you pay? 3 episodes have been released so far. And there are some more episodes coming down very soon. We hosted the first ever tax workshop here. This was something that came after feedback that we heard from students around wanting more financial literacy programming and things like that. So back in February, we hosted a tax workshop alongside the Student Accounting Association. And then we brought in, I think 5 firms ranging from tax firms to banks as well. And had a couple of workshops and seminars and presentations on financial literacy and support for students, that sort of thing. Some policy enhancements. Harmon went through and revised every single policy that we have on our website and reformatted them all for easier reading and for consistency and clarity, so that they're all available and easy to access for students on our website. We refined our elections policies this year based on feedback from the 2024 election to help make that process smoother and run a little bit easier. And we're committed to that ongoing adaptation and support for the policies that we have. And then we've also made some website improvements as well. In terms of, engagement success and building community, we've streamlined our event and fund request processes for clubs and associations, going from 4 weeks for an event request down to 3 weeks, and from 3 weeks for a fund request down to 2 weeks. And we also increased all club budgets from $1,000 per year to $1,500 per year. And we were able to do all of that without any associated fee increase on students. And then this year, we also hosted the first ever CNA Awards Gala, where we gave awards to clubs and associations for building community on campus and for the work that they're doing. And the hope is that that will now be a annual event that we host in perpetuity. Some flagship events that we've done in terms of gathering direct student feedback. We put a couple of surveys out on events and things that students want to see, and we received around 800 responses for each of those surveys. And one of those surveys was around food choices that we helped inform the menu that we put together for Early Eats, which Olivia had mentioned is a biweekly free hot breakfast program that we run right out of Everett Hall here. Direct student feedback and partnerships. We tried to make sure that we were getting out into the community. So Bilal actively attended quite a few CNA events throughout the year, trying to make sure that we're going and we're talking to the students and we're talking to the clubs and associations and making sure that they're being heard, and that if they've got any advice or feedback or things that they want to see, we're bringing that feedback back to the team.
It's not just getting it over here at the end from us to you, the SUS executive team, 2024, 25.
Thank you all so much for all of your support. We really couldn't do it without you. The UFV community is you. You are the UFV community, and the UFV community is you. So thank you all so much for coming out. We really, really appreciate your support, and we look forward to another fantastic year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaden, for the executive goal plan update and the presentation. And that ends all the special presentations and discussions that we had for the AGM. Now we'll move on to item 4, that is the question period. So we'll now open the floor to any questions. Please raise your hand showing the number. And in the interest of time, we will be having 1 question per student with a maximum of 2 minutes. If you have any other questions, then the executive team will be staying back after the AGM is done, and we'll be more than happy to answer any other questions. So, 23, yes. Would a member of the executive team like to respond?
Yeah, that's actually our mortgage payment. It's a complicated, we pay the mortgage on the building here, but it's also leased because it's on UFE property. So and our lease or mortgage expires this year and it's up for renewal.
Any other questions? Number 10.
Requesting your election is heavily on others. You think those errands just to run us depending on that promise once to instill in the state when it's just evidence.
So the 66 is a complicated one because it's not something that we have direct opportunity to implement. Like we don't control having the 66 on the UPass. It's something that involves us. It involves UFE. It involves the municipalities, and it involves BC Transit and the Fraser Valley Regional District. There's a lot of interests that are at play. The promise that I ran on was trying to initiate the process or putting a lot of emphasis and advocacy into implementing the 66 onto the UPass. We've made significant progress. We've heard positive feedback and reception from the Fraser Valley Regional District, from the mayor, from all of these different stakeholders, that it's something that they want and that it's something that we're working towards. There's just things in the way. Generally, what we've been hearing is that capacity issues and constraints are what's preventing them from wanting to implement it right now. But I've also been told that there's current processes in the works right now of trying to secure funding from the provincial government, whereby they can increase the number of service hours for the 66, which would ideally address that issue, and then we can see the implementation. So significant steps have been made. We've heard positive reception. I've been having these meetings. Like I said, Bilal and I are heading to Victoria tomorrow to talk more with the minister directly, because this is something that we're extremely interested in, and it's something that we've been pushing for. But that's the bottom line, is that it requires the buy-in from all of these different parties, and we've been doing everything that we can to secure that. So progress has been made, and we're looking forward to keeping going. So it Yeah, so this year the work on the 66 was significantly stepped up from previous years. So it's something that the BC Transit has been telling us for years that they're interested in doing, but this year was the year that we really stepped up pushing for it and starting to fight for it, and going to having these meetings, going talking to the mayor, talking to the Minister of Transit, making sure that it's a central issue for these stakeholders. So that was the promise, was that we would make it a priority to see it implemented, right? There isn't a button that we can press that adds 66 to the UPass. Rather, it's something that we're working towards, and we've made it a high priority to fight for it.
Thank you for the question. Do we have any other question? I'm sorry, I'm just calling everybody by numbers, but
you mentioned that cheaper texts will come. So the one question that does this fully apply for textbooks that have been published by UFV or third-party textbooks?
Yeah, so let me clarify that. Sorry, we didn't say cheaper textbooks are coming. Rather, UFV is implementing a new program which designates certain courses that they have on their timetable as zero textbook cost programs, which means that they have no textbook at all, but that's designed for those specific courses. Does that make sense? So you will be able to see at the time of registration which courses are ZTCs. It'll be like a symbol on the registration portal. So you'll see, okay, I know for a fact that when I register for this class, there's no textbook cost associated with. It's not that the textbooks will be cheaper. It's that you will know which courses use textbooks and which ones don't.
Right. So you are essentially, I think that some courses will swing this course of that mandatory textbooks courses to come, right?
It's not that it's mandatory textbooks, it's which courses have paid textbooks and which ones use open education resources. So like a ZTC course, it will still have reading material. It's just reading material you can access for free.
Okay.
thank you for the question. Number 5.
Hi, one question. It is directed to Karen, but yes, clear to know that. Initially, you indicated that I was surplus revenue. My question is, what is that?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I was hoping that someone would ask that because we didn't have the opportunity to address it at the time. So our budget works that we always try to do a balanced budget in terms of our operating costs. So what comes in goes out, as a nonprofit. That said, on our restricted funds, it's important that we do run a surplus, especially for our building. So the majority of that 600,000+ is the surplus for our building costs, which we keep, that will maintain the building. And if something, goes wrong, or we need to update something that has a significant cost, it's sat there. So those restricted funds, it's always important that we keep a buffer. So we make sure that we underspend every year on our building. Plus, if mortgage costs go up as well, which they might do this year, and we have to make the adjustments accordingly. Any surplus that's left beyond that, that's in general operating costs, we will usually divide into various different funds. So the majority of it, usually the board will make a decision, but often goes back into contingency funding. And it's the contingency funding that sits in our mutual funds, which is where you saw the increase in that. Also, just wanted to put a side note is that the amount of interest that we earn in those specific mutual funds is reinvested. We don't use the interest gleaned off those mutual or contingency funds and put them back into general operating costs, because we don't want to live like we're riding the stock market wave and that's how our income's generated. So for the mutual funds and contingency funds, that's just reinvested back into them until a time where we decide that that's no longer wise to do so.
Thank you. Number 13.
Something like maybe just also, but there was a bunch you mentioned out of West to New York, other campuses like Chilliwack, this back to she probably said was doing asked.
That's all about you.
So anyone who goes working to stuff like other means and
Anybody else?
Hi. Yeah. So Bilal and I actually got to go visit the Mission campus and talk to some of our education program students, where they got to highlight some concerns they were having and what they'd like to see more of on Mission campus. So we brought forth some solutions to that, as well as we will probably have our student care out there doing some tabling come the fall semester.
Bilal, did you want to talk about the Chilliwack event that you just ran and the pizza?
But yeah, back to being vice president students. So as Roxy mentioned, we went to the Mission campus, we engaged with students, we heard from them what exactly was the gap, because the Mission campus is a pretty new campus. And then also with the Chilliwack campus, we went to the Chilliwack campus a couple of times. We met the library over there, and we wanted to do an event over there which would be well received, highly attended, and would also make sure that we're filling a gap that is there. So this year we did an event called Food Truck on Campus, where we brought a food truck to the campus on both the campuses, the CEP campus and the Trades campus as well. And then we were there for 1.5 hours each. We had some music playing. We had all the execs were there, and then we were engaging with students. We were giving out free food vouchers for the students to purchase food, so that because we understand the financial burden that it is for students, and a $15 meal is not everybody would be the most comfortable like purchasing that meal. So we try to cover that gap without. We try to cover that gap and make sure that our presence is felt at the CEP campus and the TTC campus as well. Also, just to add another point, during the elections as well, all the candidates are brought to the Chilliwack campus for tabling, so that even the students at Chilliwack who do not get an opportunity to come to the AGM campus can meet the candidates that are running, so that they can make the right decision that they think is for the elections. So those were some of the few things that we did this year.
I'll just add one thing to that too, is that a change that we did intentionally in our programming this year was to make sure that when we did things like Health and Wellness Week and Safe Driving campaign, that there was always at least one day, if not half the week, was divided between Abbotsford and Chilliwack, so that things weren't exclusively here. And that is how we will continue to operate, that and engaging the Mission campus with the information that Roxy and Bilal saved as much as we can. But yeah, we also do the TTC pizza, the trade pizza as well, which is good.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Oh, yeah.
And for the
Chilliwack campus, I was dressed up as a Santa during the Christmas time. And we try to include both the TTC and the main campus. And aside from that, our programs and services team, they always try actively be there. As one example would be our Angel Tree program, where we get donations from the sponsors, and some of the donations come from Chilliwack. And hence, I think maybe it was at least for one day, our staff member was there to meet people there. So we try to like have as much engagement as we could.
Moving on, do we have any other questions? Number 27.
This one is very on base bear or then I don't
Yes. Yeah. So the reason why we have the UPass as a program for everyone is for equity reasons. So because every student pays $40 a semester, so about $10 a month, you have unlimited access to all of the transit routes within Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley, Mission and Chilliwack included, as well as access to recreation centers, which helps low-income students who can't afford to take private transportation or to take other things like that. Whereas if we made it a program where you opt into the program, you lose the economy of scale. And then all of a sudden, each student who wants to take it is having to pay $200, $300, $400 to access the same services that we're able to provide for such a great price. The opt-out eligibility that we include is designed for students who have no ability to access the services of the UPass. So if you're online only, for example, you have no ability to take the transit here or to use the rec centers. So what we try to do is we try to encourage to all of our students to take advantage of the service. You have free access to the Mission Leisure Center, to the Matsqui Rec Center, and to the Abbotsford Rec Center. All of the things that you can do in there, the pool, the gym, the drop-in sports, all of it is all free for our students. So we try and incentivize or to encourage you to take advantage of that. Same with taking transportation, right? If you can save gas, like don't drive a car, take the bus if you can. It's a really good opportunity to support the community and to stay local, I suppose. So that's generally the reasons why we do it that way, is to be able to support those students who can't afford the other alternatives. Thanks.
Thank you for the question and the response. Do we have any other questions? Number 44.
On top of the Canvas English, is there any limitation activity to why that's it?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So that's something that we've looked into multiple times now. The city of Chilliwack wants an unfair price for inclusion into the UPass. That's generally the barrier that we've hit. Where if we were to try and include the Chilliwack Rec Center, it would dramatically increase the price of the UPass for all students. So we felt like a good compromise is that we have the intercampus shuttle for students. Students can take it out to Abbotsford from Chilliwack, and then they can access things like the Abbotsford Rec Center as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Number 22.
Sorry from Chilliwack students, but they can be given they try to make Chilliwack student-wide campus. Do you know for successful events you sell it and that these like statistics or just they learn so you kind of as a big checking through that it's hiding it's a bit 17 gigs, but like then we're 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally what we saw from feedback from Chilliwack students is that they're looking for more opportunities to connect, but the same style of large-scale events that we were doing out here in Abbotsford weren't reaching the students that we wanted to in Chilliwack. So an example of that is we hosted a very large event out in Chilliwack last year in the previous executive term, and the turnout wasn't what we were hoping for. And we also noticed that a lot of the turnout was Abbotsford students coming out to Chilliwack to attend the event. So what we learned from that and what we've learned from feedback from Chilliwack students is that they're looking for more things that are kind of opportunities for community that are more either drop in or they're like, come and go. There's things that are going on there just on on a smaller scale. So that's why when we did, for example, the food truck on campus event, it was more of like hey, we've put on some hits to dance to, and we've brought a food truck, and now we're giving out free tickets to grab some food, and let's all get together and have a chat. And we felt like that was super well received, and that was very positively attended, and that was also designed specifically for the Chilliwack students, rather than saying we're throwing a big event and then all the Abbotsford students come out to Chilliwack to attend it. Right? It was designed for those Chilliwack students. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. We would have to look at how we would do that. But generally, what we saw was that the target audience that we were trying to reach, we didn't we didn't get the feedback from them that we wanted. So what we had heard from the Chilliwack students, because Abbotsford students were in exams as well, right? And Abbotsford students made the trip out to Chilliwack to attend that event. So what we heard from the Chilliwack students generally was that that wasn't the type of event that they're looking for on the Chilliwack campus. They're looking for more continual opportunities for community and engagement rather than one large event in the year.
That's perfect.
Just to add on to that, just to make a quick note, the food truck on campus was done on March 25th, and the backyard bash last year was March 28th. So they were very close and like in the similar time. It's just the strange thing with events. You don't know which one would work. You don't know which one would work. You just hope for the best. So thank you. Any other questions? Number 30, and then we'll go to number.
Hi. So why I get on this board, and I'm just curious, like how many years, how last someone paid on? Keep on that.
I'll be honest, I cannot remember. I want to say that there's another 12 years, but that doesn't make it right. So that was something I'd have to get back to you. But if you swing by the end of the week to the front desk, blessing at our front desk, I will have the answer for you. But yeah, I can't remember. But I do know that it's up for renewal on the 12th of November. But I don't recall how many years are left.
We've been in this building for 10 years now. It was constructed in 2015, so we're going to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary in August. So we've been in the building for 10 years. We'll have to see how many more years we have on it, but
Yeah, they start to pay the mortgage before it completes. So I'm probably right for 12 years, but we'll.
Good. Well, 12 years sounds pretty good.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for the question, and then move back over there. Can I just see the number, please? Number 28.
I have always sayings a company. They say speak. We were still keeping the result in the team and conducting time and ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So MSP, to my understanding, is just for basic health insurance, whereas the health and dental plan that we have is extended health and dental coverage. So things like eye care, dental, other things related to extended health coverage. So it's the same thing as the UPass in the sense that we have a really good economy of scale. As a matter of fact, our health and dental program is the lowest cost student health insurance in the entire country at the price that you pay of $195 per year. For reference, other private extended health and dental insurance providers are generally around $80 a month. So the fact that we can provide what we can for $200 a year is pretty good in terms of costs. But yeah, more information can be found from the Lumo website, formerly known as Student Care. And we have a rep here in the atrium, which you can go visit after if you'd like. He's here tabling and he's answering student questions. So I think he's here till 2 o'clock. He's here till 2 o'clock. So if you want to go visit, he's just right next to our office on the left-hand side. You'll see him right there by Fairgrounds.
Just to add like a pretty short, so do you have 3 things?
Fashion and she hears us I working on my Zoom and they asked me for the fees, but as a student, I can go space, so I got more information.
But yes, do you have UMO on your? So once you put the like your access code that you have on your MyUFV, once you put that into your UMO account, you can just show that to the front desk, and then they'll give you a semester access pass. Like it's a physical card that they'll give you, and then every time you go in, you just scan it and you can go in.
I don't have to do it.
Nope. Yeah, you just show them that you have the UPass, and then they'll give you the semester card. Yeah,
And 28.
You're supposed to be talking about the UFV.
Oh,
Launch.
apologies there. So the UPass only covers the local rec centers. So that's the Abbotsford Rec Center, the Matsqui Rec Center, and the Mission Leisure Center. The UFV gym is not included in our UPass. That's run by UFV, whereas SUS runs the UPass, right? So I think access to the UFV gym, if you get the semester pass, is about $10 a month, I think. And then you have unlimited access to use the UFE gym.
Recommendations.
No worries. Yeah.
Just to circle back to the earlier question, usually the student care, and like now known as Illumo, that fee that you pay is for non-emergency scenarios. Let's say you have to go to a chiropractor, you have to go to a physiotherapist, whereas MSP is usually it comes handy in emergency situations. If you have to call an ambulance, you don't have to cover the cost for the ambulance. It's taken care by the provincial government, the BC MSP that you pay, just to define it. And just in the interest of time, we will have one last question. Do we have any? Do you guys decide who goes on first? That we'll go with. Let's do last two questions, and then the exec team will stay back for any other question that we have. Let's start with 25.
So, if I'm even considered, I'm living on Strawberry
and was
and with
received well by the
business
students,
colleagues,
however,
community, so that
as well.
We don't offer it in the summer semester. It's something because there's a couple of challenges that we have. So the money that comes from the food bank fee goes to the UFVSUS food bank, which UFV runs and we contribute to, and then the Early Eats program. So when we've launched the Early Eats program, we didn't budget for it to run as a hot breakfast program over the summer, but instead we're doing pop-up food programs. So it won't be the hot breakfast program every other week because of the reduction in students and just the volume control of making a huge amount of food, because we cook those items in bulk, would be a challenge for us, and we don't want to have wastage. So instead, every 2 weeks we'll be doing a pop-up food, and more details are to follow on time and dates. But for examples, before we've done samosas or spring rolls or just a grab-and-go item that we set up in the atrium, and usually the day of we kind of post a reminder that that's happening, but that is the plan for the summer.
Thank you for the question. We'll move on to the last question, number 38. Anybody on the panel would like to respond?
So, yeah, so that would be a UFB question, the second part. In terms of health and wellness being separated, we generally, we do, so in the fall, it's UFE Sustainability, I believe, that does the health and wellness for the fall semester, the health and wellness week, and then it's SUS that does it in the winter. So we divide it that way. I want to get confirmation on that, just so that I'm not getting out.
So the health and wellness week.
Yeah. Yes. I see. Yes, all of that is all UFE. So counseling services and the other wellness services that we have on the campus are all run by UFE. Yeah.
That's something we can follow up. You can leave that with us. We'll follow up with UFE on that. For our health and wellness, we do more programming than offer the actual the project. So our health and wellness is the smaller events that we do. So we do health and wellness kind of highlights. We'll get guest speakers in, bunny yoga, bhangra dancing. That's sort of more of the programming around health and wellness. But yeah, as James said, the health and wellness team and counselling and all of those, that's it as health and wellness at UFE. But yeah, it can be a bit confusing with the same use of words. But do leave the menstruation products with myself, and I will follow up with UFE, and we'll get that sorted.
Thank you so much, everybody, for the questions, and thank you, everybody on the panel, for all the in-detail responses. Just mentioning one more time, the exec team will stay back after the AGM to answer any other questions, or if you want to discuss any other things. Moving on, we'll move on to item number 5, that is the giveaway. So now for our giveaway, each attendee has a number that I've been calling everybody. Number 5, number 3, number 2. Now I have the name with the number as well. So when your number is called, please just come to the stage, and I would request SUS President Jane Hovey to go downstairs, and also like just give them a sheet, and then you can just drop by the SUS info desk to collect your award, collect your giveaway, and also to sign a sheet that you received the award. So the winner of the Apple Watch Series 10, that's what we're giving, sorry if I didn't mention that. The winner of the Apple Watch Series 10 is number 27, Miyako Ando. Now we all know your name if you don't want to share the number. And that concludes the 2025 SUS AGM. I would move on to item number 6, the adjournment. And the meeting, the SUS 2025 AGM is adjourned at 1:07 p.m. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending the AGM. If you didn't get the Apple Watch, we do have some lunch from Lep's sandwiches, and go and enjoy some lunch. Have some conversations. Execs are here to have any conversation if you want. And thank you so much for coming.